Some of these jets flew, some never even left the runway, but all of them represent the wildest aviation experiments of World War II. Here is every jet built during the war, categorized by country. Here is Germany, Messerschmitt 262. This was the first operational jet fighter in history. It completely revolutionized aerial warfare. Its incredible speed made it almost impossible for Allied piston fighters to intercept, a true symbol of late-war German technology. Arado 234, known as the Blitz, or Lightning. This was the world's first jet-powered bomber. Although usually used for reconnaissance, its speed ensured that almost none were ever intercepted or shot down by the Allies. It was untouchable. Heinkel 162, designed to be cheap and quick to build using mostly non-strategic materials. This people's fighter was meant to be flown by Hitler Youth pilots. While fast, it was notoriously dangerous and unstable to fly. Heinkel 1-78, a truly historical aircraft. This was the first plane to fly solely on turbojet power, achieving its maiden flight way back in August 1939. It proved the viability of jet propulsion, setting the stage for everything else. Heinkel 280, this early twin-engine jet fighter, was nearly ready before the Messerschmitt Me 262. It performed very well, but the RLM favored the Messerschmitt design due to its greater potential bomb and gun payload. Horten 229, a radical all-wing design, powered by twin Jumo engines. Some historians believe its shape offered unintentional stealth characteristics. It remains a spectacular, albeit barely tested, example of futuristic German engineering. Junkers 287, famous for its striking avant-garde appearance. This heavy bomber prototype featured aggressively forward-swept wings. This unique design was intended to improve low-speed handling and stability. Messerschmitt 328, designed as a small, cheap parasite fighter, intended to be carried by larger bombers. Later variants experimented with pulse jet propulsion. It never truly progressed past the glider or experimental phases. Fieseler Phi 103R. This was the manned version of the infamous V-1 flying bomb. These aircraft were intended for desperate suicide missions against strategic targets, piloted by volunteers in the last months of the war. Messerschmitt P1101, a critically important late-war prototype featuring variable sweep wings. Although only partially completed, it was captured by the Americans and heavily influenced the design of the famous Bell X-5 research aircraft. Focke-Wulf TA-183, never flown, but a highly advanced jet fighter design that heavily influenced early post-war aircraft worldwide. It was the basis for successful designs like the Argentine Pulqui and the American F-86 Sabre. Junkers 128, an advanced, high-altitude jet interceptor project developed in the final desperate months of the war. It was designed to achieve Mach 0.89 using a single powerful Heinkel-Herth engine. Bachem 349, a unique, vertically launched rocket-powered interceptor. The pilot was intended to fire its massive battery of rockets at bomber formations, then bail out while the aircraft body parachuted down. Lippisch P-13A, a highly radical delta-wing fighter intended to use a coal or petroleum-fired ramjet engine. It was an ambitious attempt to create a high-speed interceptor using non-conventional, readily available fuel sources. Heinkel 343, developed by Heinkel's team as a direct response to the Messerschmitt Me 26 two-bomber variant. This was intended to be a fast, medium-range, jet-powered reconnaissance and bomber platform. Arado E-555, a massive and complex long-range strategic jet bomber project. Various versions were proposed, featuring radical flying wing and delta wing layouts intended to allow missions deep into Allied territory. The next one, DFS-194, developed as a testbed glider. This aircraft pioneered the tailless swept-wing design that would later be adopted by the incredibly fast Me-163 rocket interceptor. It was essential proof of concept. Up next, DFS-228, a high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft designed to use a pressurized cabin for the pilot. It was initially planned as a glider, later incorporating a small rocket motor for sustained flight at extreme altitudes. Then, DFS-346, a high-speed rocket-powered research aircraft developed in cooperation with German and Russian engineers immediately following the conflict. It was intended to investigate dangerous transonic flight characteristics. Up next, Sombold So-344, a very unusual mixed-power interceptor project. It consisted of a large gun-arm nose section intended to detach from a rocket-powered aft body after the attack run. It remained a highly theoretical design study. Next up, United Kingdom. Gloucester Meteor, the only Allied jet fighter to achieve operational status during the conflict. Although faster than any piston engine aircraft, it was used primarily to defend against V-1 rockets rather than fight German jets. Gloucester E-2839, often known as the Pioneer. This small aircraft was Britain's first successful jet-powered plane, demonstrating the practical application of Sir Frank Whittle's revolutionary engine design in flight. De Havilland Vampire, famous for its distinctive twin-boom layout. The prototype of this highly successful jet fighter first flew in 1943, though it did not enter widespread service until immediately after the conflict ended. Next up, United States. Bell P-59, America's very first jet-powered aircraft. Its performance was often disappointing compared to its German and British counterparts, and it was mostly relegated to training duties. Lockheed P-80, the first United States jet to fly fast enough to rival the German Me-262. Its prototype, the Shooting Star, flew in 1944, though it only saw limited pre-operational testing before the war ended. Ryan FR Fireball, a unique mixed-power airplane designed for carrier operation. It featured a powerful piston engine in the nose and a jet engine in the tail, offering pilots two different types of thrust for flexibility. Now, this is the McDonnell FH Phantom, designed specifically for naval carrier operations. The prototype of this twin-engine jet fighter first flew early in 1945. It eventually became the first jet adopted by the United States Navy. Up next, Bell XP-83, a heavy twin-jet prototype designed specifically for long-range bomber escort duties. It was meant to address the severely limited fuel capacity that plagued virtually all early jet engine designs. Consolidated Vultee XP-81, another interesting mixed power design. This experimental aircraft combined a turboprop engine in the nose for efficient cruising and a jet engine in the tail for added burst speed and interception capability. Curtiss XF-15C, designed late in the war for the US Navy. This mixed-power fighter utilized a conventional piston engine up front and a single turbojet in the fuselage tail section. It ultimately did not enter mass production. Northrop XP-79, a highly unusual flying wing design. Nicknamed the Flying Ram, it was ridiculously fast and structurally strong. It was intended to destroy enemy bombers by literally slicing their wings off. Next on the list is Japan. Nakajima Kikka, Japan's first jet aircraft. Heavily influenced by the German Messerschmitt Me-262, though it was significantly smaller and less powerful. It flew briefly, just days before the war ended. Yokosuka MXY-7 Model 22, a variant of the notorious Oka suicide rocket aircraft. This specific model was intended to be launched from ground catapults rather than being released from a mother aircraft, dramatically extending its range. Next on the list is Soviet Union. Mikoyan Gurevich I-250, the first high-speed mixed-power aircraft tested by the Soviets. It combined a conventional piston engine with a motorjet, essentially a ducted fan or compressor driven by the main engine. Sukhoi 5, an experimental Soviet fighter that used a piston engine combined with a mechanical turbo compressor booster. This was used to significantly increase speed in brief bursts for high-altitude interception. Polikarpov I-153DM, an extremely unusual testbed that combined an obsolete biplane structure with crude experimental ramjet boosters mounted under the wings. This was an early, bizarre attempt by the Soviets to reach higher speeds. Yakovlev Yak-7 PVRD, a conventional Soviet fighter modified for high-speed research. It mounted two rudimentary ramjet engines on the wingtips, used to test the potential of ramjet propulsion technology in flight. Finishing off with Italy, Caproni Campini M1, an Italian experimental aircraft often incorrectly cited as a true jet. It used a piston engine to power a large compressor, creating thrust, making it a thermodynamic or motorjet design. It was a technical marvel for 1940,